Right back at you. All right, so now we're going to talk about addition and subtraction, but what we're going to do is we're going to have a common denominator that's different. Or a denominator that's different. So we're going to need a common denominator. How do common denominators be different? I don't know. Okay, so the idea, A over B plus C over D. Notice my denominators are different. All right, so I'm going to make them common. Now there's a couple techniques to do it, but we're going to go ahead and start with the basic one first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. I'm multiplying by 1 and only 1. The only difference is I'm going to dress it up. For instance, 4 over 4 is equal to 1. Is everybody with me on that? X over x is equal to 1, right? And of course, the smile over the smile is still equal to 1. So however I want to dress 1 up, it's still 1. We're going to do the same thing with our fractions. And I'm going to need an eraser. Here we go. Okay. So I know this has a B. This has a D. I want them to be the same. So we're not going to make them meet at some K or some other letter. Let's go ahead and put them together. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my A over B. Here's my C over D. But note, this has a B in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by D. Right? But I'm multiplying by 1. So what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to multiply both sides by D. Right? Now, on this case, I have the D. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by B. I multiply the bottom by B, and I'm going to do to the bottom and the top the same to keep it 1. So it's going to be B over B. So what does that do? Well, when I think early on, I know that D times B is simply BD, right? Note that I'm going to have common denominators now. All right? So what this does, it gives me, and this is my common denominator. Now you're saying, well, hold on. Is that the lowest common denominator? I've heard that term. Well, no, not necessarily. Not doing it this way. All right? We'll get to that in a second. Right now, we're just going to get common denominators. Okay, so A times, or D times A, AD over BD plus BC over BD. Now I'm looking at it, I'm saying, well, hold on. I got the addition, but I have common denominators. Since I have common denominators, what is our rule? We keep our denominator, and we uphold to the operation in the numerator. So this becomes AD plus BC. Right? Nice and pretty. So all we're doing, we're taking our idea of multiplication, we're throwing it in there. We're taking our concept of addition, we're throwing that in there too, and we're working them together. Any questions so far? No? Okay. All right, 3/5 plus 2/3. I'm looking at it. Got a 5, got a 3. They're not common, right? So we're going to find out where they meet. So one way to do that is to say, well, here's my 3/5. Here's my 2/3. I know that this is a 3, so I'm just going to multiply the bottom by 3. But what I do to the bottom, I got to what? Do to my top, right? Denominator, numerator. We're going to treat them the same because we're multiplying by 1. Remember, we're not changing the way the fraction, its strength, if you will, right? We're changing the way it looks. You know, just changing clothes, if you will. So we're going to go 5 over 5 in this case, right? You say, well, hold on. Why do you have little parentheses on these two and the big parentheses on this side? Doesn't matter. It's just a way to show it, all right? Don't be confused. It's just another way to write it. So note that 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 5 is 15. Now, if I think about that, if I wanted to reduce this, 9 over 15, well, if I reduce it down going this way, it's still 3/5. So again, I'm not changing the fraction, not changing the strength of it. I'm just changing the way it looks, right? Plus, 2 times 5 is our 10. There's our 15. Now, here's the deal. You're looking at this, and you're saying, oh, wow, look, 9 over 15, 10 over 15, I can reduce. Don't do it. Because if you do, we're going to be right back where we started from, okay? Don't reduce. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Right now, we're going after the fact that we got common denominators, so we're going to put them together. So this becomes 9 plus 10 over 15, which is going to equal to our 19 over 15, right? If I really wanted to, I could say, well, here's our improper fraction, but I can also write this as 1 and 4/15. Questions, comments, concerns, oh my? No? All right. Not yet. We're still going. We're rolling there, director. We're rolling. La 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 la. Okay, so now we're looking at this one. If I just run right into it, I could say, oh, this is real simple. I'm going to multiply this by 45 over 45, and then I'm going to multiply this by 15 over 15, right? That's one way to do it, but that's going to suck, so we're not going to do it that way, all right? What we're going to do is we're going to sit back and we're going to check something out. Well, I know that this is 2 over 15, right? Remember, I need a common denominator. What is 3 and 45? Will that reduce down? Absolutely, right? So this becomes what? Does anybody know?
1 over 15.
1 over 15. Guess what I just found? I found a common denominator, right? You don't have to go up to find our common denominator. Sometimes you can reduce down, right? And now we have our common denominator. This is our lowest common denominator. We're feeling good about this. Did we want to bring this up to whatever? I don't want to multiply 15 times 45. I could do it if I really wanted to, but for what, right? It's extra work. So now we know this is 2 plus 1 over 15, right? Which becomes 3 over 15. Are we done yet? No, we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to reduce this down. So we know that this is going to be what? 1 over 5. Does that make sense to everybody? All right? Now, let's just say you're like, man, hold on, Edwards. I wouldn't have caught that on my own. Then I would say, okay, well, let's talk about the factors of it. Here's 2 over 15 plus 3 over 3 times 15. Does everybody see that? Right? You know that there's a 15 in this. At least I hope. So from here, I know if I really wanted to bring them up to 45, I can. Well, this has got a 15, this has got a 3 and a 15. So my factor for this side is going to be what? 215, but I'm going to multiply it by 3 over 3. Plus, I don't have to multiply this by anything. Because if I look, my factors for my denominator are now the same. Does everybody see that? 3 times 15, 3 times 15. So I don't have to do anything to this. We're good. So I know that this is going to be 6 plus 3 over my 3 times 15, which we know is 45, which is going to give me 9 over 45. And we all know that that is going to give me my 1/5. Is everybody with me on that? And you say, well, bumble sticks, I wouldn't even have caught that. Okay. 2 over 15 plus 3 over 45. Well, I know that this is divisible by 5, right? So I break it down to its prime factors. So here's 2. This is 5 times 3 plus 3 over, well, this is 5 times 9, but I know I can break 9 down. So this is 5 times 3 times 3. Is everybody with me? Okay. Once again, this has got a 5 and a 3. This has got a 5 and a 3. The only thing that's not common is this has got a 3, this one doesn't, so that we need a 3 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by 3 over 3, which is our 1. So this is going to be our 2, 5 times 3, plus 3, 5 times 3 times 3. When we work this out, that's going to give us our 6 over 45 plus 3 over 45. And from here, we're going to add it up, get the 9 over 45, which is going to give us our 1/5, right? So, while Gabby's struggling to stay awake, we're just going to kind of go over this briefly. In this case, option 1, note that if I can reduce down to find my common denominator, it's nice and smooth, right? If I can make one of them come and meet the other one, we're keeping the 45 still, we're bringing the 15 straight to the 45 in terms of how we understand the 3 times the 15, that's fine. But if nothing else, you can break down to your factors, right? Break them all the way down to your prime factors, figure out what they have, figure out which one's missing which, and then multiply accordingly like we did with the 3 over 3. Right? Real simple. Okay, so 4 over 30, 2 over 75, right? I'm looking at this. Those are big numbers. I'm going to make it a little easy for me. Can I reduce this? Right? I can. Do I want to? I don't know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But for the sake of easement, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just say we're going to do it. So I divide this and this, and what do I find? This becomes 2 times 2 over 2 times 15, right? My 2's reduce out, so I know that this is 2 over 15 plus 2 over 75. Is everybody with me on that? Right? Okay, so from here, I can go ahead and say, well, I know this is 2 times 3 times 5 plus 2 times, I can divide this by 5, right? Good to go? Okay, so 5 divided by, or 75 divided by 5 is what? What do we know?
13.
Huh?
15.
15. So here's my 5. Here's my, whatchamacallit, 1. And there's my 5. Is everybody with me on that? Right? Okay. Now, we say, wait a second. Here's 15. There's 15. Right? I'm feeling good about this. Why am I feeling good? Because I know this 3 and 5 is going to give me this 15. It's right there. Right? So what's the only thing that this one needs? It needs the 5. Right? So I go ahead and I throw the 5 in. And when I do that, that gives me 10 over 75 plus 2 over 75. Now I know I'm at 12 over 75. Is everybody with me on that? Right? All right, am I done? Absolutely not. Good answer. And the reason why I'm not done is because I know this is 3 times 4. This is 3 times 25. Right? This reduces down, so I have 4 over 25. Is everybody with me on that? Okay? So, if we have A over 6 plus B over 9, right? I know that this is really a 3 times 2 plus B 3 times 3. So I know in common I have my 3's as factors. But what's this one missing here? I'm missing the 3, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite this. And I'm going to multiply in. We're missing the 3 on this side. I'm missing the 2 on this side. So notice, this is going to give me 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2. Right? So I multiply up, this is going to be 3A over my 3, 3, 2 plus 2B over my 3, 3, 2. So at the end, I'm going to have 3A plus 2B over, well, I know 3 times 3 is 9, right? 9 times 2, 18, right? Is everybody with me on that? Questions, comments, concerns on mine? All right, we're feeling pretty good about this, right? It's nice inside, maybe a little warm, you know, maybe. All right.